Hello and welcome once more to a Weegamers video. Tonight I am joined by the illustrious Bob and the beautiful Andy T, and we're going to be talking about Warlord Epic Black Powder, namely the Waterloo campaign set. Some madness has swept us and we decided we needed a new project, something meaty, something to mark the end of all the bad things and the bad times. So we thought we'd give ourselves the living hell of a 15mm Napoleonic army. I've already had a rummage through all the boxes because they came to me. Thank you, Warlord. Lovely big box. My musings are largely on Facebook, but for the benefit of the people who don't go onto Facebook and who are joining us on YouTube, hello, hit subscribe. I had that sort of 28mm Wargamer reaction of initially opening it and going, lots and lots and lots of men. Oh, lots and lots and lots of men. Oh dear. Before my brain kicked in and went, actually, at this scale and for what we're doing and the way they're going to be based, it's not really lots of men. It's just about enough. Just about enough. Modest, apparently, but still quite the painting task. My take, just for the sake of it, isn't so much, well, it is about the value a little bit. I still think that starter set, lovely big box that it is, pictures. I think the starter set is quite a daunting box, especially if you're trying to recruit somebody new into Napoleonics. It's a great scale to work in because it takes up less space, do lots of things. But suddenly you open that box and it's like, oh. For the price tag, 95 quid, I think I would have been equally as happy to open that box, get probably half as many figures, but for 2 players, and maybe 2 rule books, maybe forgo the terrain piece, maybe a smaller or simpler terrain piece, and know that that spend was getting me and my unwitting chum started in 6mm Black Powder Napoleonics. That was kind of my come away from it all. So not disappointment, but kind of, I don't know, grumpy approval, but with maybe it could have been done differently, and I might walk away happier and less intimidated by it. But that's just me. Bob, you're sitting with the British. How did you find that?
Well, to be honest, I looked at it and went, it's a nice amount for Napoleonics. I am the only one here, I think, who actually played Napoleonics previously, and I'm used to the amount. The only thing is, I hate painting, and everybody knows I hate painting with a vengeance. And it is going to be a bit more of a task for me, but I'll get through it because it's 15mm. You don't have to be so precise. Now, I do like the fact that the rulebook is a nice, chunky, well-presented rulebook in the box. You're not getting this like 6-page starter rulebook, which is really no use.
True.
You're getting the full rulebook. I do love the fact that they supply you with the flags for your units, because for me to paint a straight line in that scale, it's going to be a mission impossible. As you can see, lurking in the side here is my magnifier. It holds it to the desk.
I don't think they make straight lines much smaller.
Believe me, they can, yes, they can. But the only gripe I actually have in that whole box is the dice. You know, for a few pence more, they could have went up to 12mm dice, or even 15mm dice, because they're tiny.
You worried about swallowing them, Bob?
I am indeed.
Get them mixed up with his pillbox.
That's don't be hard. You know, it's the fact that they are so small, and it's, you know, dice are cheap when you buy them en masse. They're cheap, so they are. For a few, it literally is maybe 1 or 2p per die, and there's only 6 dice in the box.
Yeah, I did. Now you've mentioned it, I did
Well,
forget the dice are a bit crap.
Yes, Sorry, that's my only moan about it. But that's it.
Which
And
is
the fact that
unusual for you, Bob.
ooh. Yeah, well, I don't maybe if it's a huge mod in the box being better, but
we did get it, but we'll come to the terrain as a separate thing.
yeah,
No, worth mentioning. Each starter box, to be fair, on the price tag does have a terrain piece in it. A modest, we'll call it a modest terrain piece.
it's a pretty bit.
Yeah.
And there is a deal on at the minute. If you buy the starter sets from Warlord, they throw in one of those bigger train sets with it. So I think there's a bit more value on it now at the minute.
True. We didn't get that, but I'll follow that up. Andrew, you have the Prussians then. So again, same question as Bob. What were your first impressions thrown up in the box there?
I had a lot of weird ones, but I really wanted to start with one of those well actually moments. You keep on saying 15 mil, so that's a big
Yes.
buzzer at the minute online. It's not 15 mil, it's not 10 mil, it's not 6 mil. It's a weird
13.5 million.
or something. But looking into it, they've kind of I've got to give them a bit of respect for that. They've kind of looked at what scale would be best for a certain amount of size of base, and have worked out from the frontage the proper looking scale. So yeah, it might work. It might work. But I've come at this. I've previously had the ACW box set, so I was expecting to see similar to the ACW. So the ACW, it's one sprue but repeated maybe like 20 times. There's no variation between the sprues. This time round with the Prussians, I've got three different types of sprue. So I've got the militia type of trooper, and the regular line trooper. I've got some cavalry. I've got the cannons. There's a real mix in there for me, and I was really surprised by that. Especially because I thought that when I was reading the rule book comes with. It's not just the black powder rules. There's the 100 day campaign add on to it, so you don't have to go out and buy the additional campaign rules. So they've actually got the rules for your Prussian and British and French in there, and the the base kind of formation or brigade or battalion requires certain different types of troops, and they're all there. So it's quite a substantial starter set, and when you go into what the starter set comprises of, it's a couple of different types. It's a couple of different brigades. That's a quite substantial amount for black powder. I think we might have gone in there too big there, guys. Like if we were going in 28 mil, we'd be looking at one general, a couple of formations, whereas we've got a whole army there. Like it's a brave amount of stuff.
We have
Maybe a bad,
about
but it's
2 divisions each
mm-hmm.
of troops.
Yeah.
So roughly around 2 divisions. And for Waterloo, I need another. I think I need about another 3 boxes of heavy cavalry to take it
No,
up.
no,
Yeah.
you don't.
Historically correct.
And that's a fair point. If we are going kind of historical, like Andy, you need to buy twice as much French than we have. Like so, we're currently outnumbering you.
Sorry, cardboard cutouts don't count. You can't put a wee cardboard sign in the back saying the French are here. That doesn't work.
But okay, valid point, and Andrew's made a lot of quite valid points there too, and I think I have to agree with him. I suppose me coming from the point of view of liking to get people playing games, that's probably where I'm sitting. That the starter set to me is a wasted opportunity for a two-player set.
Mm-hmm.
But as Bob quite rightly says, it's actually a fair amount of stuff, and it's a good starting block. And as you've quite rightly said, it's actually a really good mix of stuff. And with the terrain and all that's in there, it's remarkably good value. So okay, we're not going to fault the starter set, but you've hit on an interesting point for anyone that's watching that is sort of thinking, I'd quite like to dabble. I'd quite like to have a go. I suppose the bottom line is buy that starter set for the army you want and nothing else to start with
Yeah, yeah.
because you're going to
I
be
actually think,
overwhelmed.
Andrew, you could get away with those three different boxes. One of each of those boxes would get you enough for what would that be? One division, is that, Bob? So you know,
There's definitely a brigade heavy of cavalry there, and there's actually maybe 2 brigades of
mm,
infantry.
so
If I worked it out correctly,
yeah,
it's three.
it might be a better option to buy the three separate boxes if you were just looking to dabble.
Yeah,
Three
true.
divisions of cavalry and
Mm,
3 divisions of infantry,
mm,
Okay.
or 2.5 divisions.
I suppose even at that, let's jump on to those sort of the division boxes then. They pop out about 26 quid each. Now I think sadly the Prussians come out the worst. You don't just get as much toys as everyone else. But then you did get quite a nice box. I think it's your is it your Landwehr? I call it the right thing,
yeah,
Yep,
where you've got
Landwehr's mix.
infantry and skirmishers and a horse regiment as well.
it it weirdly the Landwehr, the way that they do their divisions in the book, I don't know if it's historically accurate or not, but it's a mix between the line and the Landwehr, the
Hmm.
militia dudes. So you would have to buy at least 2 boxes to make those. Um, but you could equally, if you were just looking to play the period, you could just use 3 regiments and away you go. Like.
I think if I remember correctly, and I'm not going to try and prize some historical facts out of my head that I don't possess, I just read the back of the box properly.
Mm-hmm.
Was that the Prussians were kind of a bit stymied in that because of another engagement they'd been in and a treaty that then had been signed, what they could have as a standing army was curtailed. But the
Mm,
Landwehr was a loophole in that because the Landwehr is
yeah,
essentially militia, country
yeah.
defenders or something like that there. So they
It
had
does sound
tons of those guys.
yeah, and it'll give me a varied force. It'll not be all one type, which is I always find far more interesting.
Yep.
You need to have some different.
Just look at the advantage of being playing the Prussians, Andy. It'll be just perfect for your time scale
Mm,
because they come in late in the battle. So you won't have to turn up until 8 o'clock like normal anyway on a big game Sunday.
that's it. That's it. Just
It's
arrive, save the day, go
it's
home again.
worth note they only arrived late to the Battle of Waterloo. At many other fights, they were on time because they were already there.
They just took the wrong turning on the road. Somebody disagreed. They turned the signpost a bit.
So
Waterloo, 6 miles that way.
jumping on then, let's talk a little bit about the painting now. I can hold my hand up and say all my core set is now undercoated, and that required one full and 1/4 can of spray white undercoat to achieve. Um, I've gone for the lazy man's option of keeping them all in the spray and just going turn white, turn white. Bob, you have opened your
Two brigades
box and
gone.
looked at it.
I've done 2 of the brigades.
2 full brigades,
They're
like
now undercoated.
finished,
Undercoated.
undercoated. Okay,
I'm
and
waiting for them to dry. I will be getting the faces done tonight.
Mr. Torrance, I think you're actually ahead of everyone in that you've already got some color on.
Yeah, I, I where did the guide come from? There's a guide in the box actually, a painting
Yes.
guide. So I know nothing about the color schemes. I don't know what the bags there are, the cross. I don't know any of that. So I'm
Right.
simultaneously trying to learn that and read the guide. And it's quite a nice one. Like it's there's maybe 6 colors in it. So
Yeah.
I've got the top. I don't have the official colors. I'm pretty much just holding colors up and going, that looks about dark blue. Um, so I've got two, I don't know, what do you call it, 2 regiments, 6 bases worth. So I've got the blues on them. I've got grey trousers, a grey blanket around the side. Um, it's hard going. Like it's the first time I've actually thought I'm going to need to work on keeping the spirits up here because it's going to get old quickly. I think
Gonna
so.
get tight.
I'm contemplating a staggered approach so that I'm always finishing something. So there's always something you can see, doing, so every time I do a session, I finish
Yeah,
at least the units, but like bring the others along behind it a step.
kind of like
I
that
don't,
idea.
I don't know. I just need to think of something that's going to not crush the morale. And the stuff like we were talking earlier on about cheats. I was on a Facebook group and someone mentioned using a gel pen to do the bandoliers, which a detail I was really struggling to think how the heck am I going to paint because you were considering leaving it out.
Yeah,
Options it's the only proper contrast really. Like everything's grey or dark blue, so the white stripes I think need to go in at some point. So I think the gel pen I think would maybe be slightly easier than using a paintbrush and maybe save a bit of sanity.
true, true. I like the idea of the staggered approach. That idea of sort of having something is always getting finished every time you're coming is kind of good because I'm thinking about going down. Is this your color pouch?
That's my acrylic pens.
Oh, your acrylic pens. Oh, tell us more, Robert.
They are acrylic pens for drawing on stones and things.
But are
What's
they
They
going to be
are.
fine enough nibbed for these not 15mm miniatures?
I get up there. There we go.
That's that's quite a thick nib.
Yeah,
Yeah, but it goes down. Nice tip. So you get a nice line. It'll
you
be
just
okay for
tip
bandoliers.
them.
Okay, okay. I mean, Andrew was talking about pens with like a what was it, a 0.5mm diameter.
You're talking about road rings.
But what?
Huh?
You're talking about the equivalent of road ring pens. Very fine nibs, 0.5mm. Architect's pens.
Okay,
No,
but with gel.
Craftsman's pens.
we're starting out in the journey, so we'll report back
Well,
whenever
I've
we.
I've already looked at Amazon, but if I can get a few worth trying for under a tenner, I'll give it a go.
Yeah,
My approach was going to be much the same as my spraying on the sprue. I was going to probably go for painting on the sprue. Like yourself, my knowledge of the Napoleonic period ranges from the first episode of Sharp to the last episode of Sharp, um, and possibly Master and Commander on the far side of the world, and Les Mis, which I've seen 3 times, none of which is a big help. Andy
that's
Kay.
probably what we're going to miss with this scale. You're not going to be able to point at one of them and go, that's sharp, and there,
That's him.
it's,
He's the big
yeah,
man. Um,
But
uh,
this mate Fred.
yeah, Andy Kay very nicely the other night brought to the club to lend me a lovely big book, which is literally all the Napoleonic uniforms. What I can see myself doing is looking through that and going French, 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 easiest French uniform. They're all that.
yeah,
That's not going to work because we seem to have old guard, middle guard, line infantry, skirmishers, umpteen different types of
yeah,
artillery divisions, umpteen different types of cavalry divisions,
yeah.
all with plumage and colours and things.
It does seem even within one regiment or whatever, you've got guys in the flanks with different coloured pom poms. Luckily, the Prussians don't seem to go in for that,
No,
So
the
that is
The Prussians turn and go, "We're here to fight, not win
yeah,
fashion
yeah,
contests."
that's it.
The
True.
French very much seem to be, "Look at my plum."
My
Uh,
lovely facial hair. Yeah,
and a wee nosy online to see about the Enniskillen Dragoons and the Enniskillen Line Infantry.
Why? Because you're going to do the
And
Irish regiments.
yeah, and the Connaught Rangers and people like that. And they're nearly all just green plumes. That's the standard uniforms, but with a green plume in their shakos. So it's
Done.
just green, done. There's an Irishman. Green, done.
but you guys, the majority of yours are white anyway, aren't they? White trousers, white
That's Peninsula
jacket
War.
things, white.
Who you
Bread
talking about?
trousers.
You talking about the French or the British?
Both,
Well,
really.
no,
Like
the British go in for white when it's like those nice red coats and that, lots of white and red and stuff like that. Whereas Bob's considering going down the route of, well, if I do all the colony, all the colony regiments, I can go for really drab colours that don't require them. I mean, I bet your Highland units are going to be Black Watch or something, aren't they?
Well, it might be. Actually, the Black Watch had a red plume in their
I,
bearskins.
I think this is big talk. I think you need to get some paint down there.
I'm
Yeah.
afraid to say, I did point out, I said to Andy, they are going to be all wearing the Keith tartan. My whole Highland army is going to be wearing the Keith tartan.
Well,
Because
my,
it's
my,
going to be
my
green.
hypothetical army is going to be highlighted and marvelous and textured bases. It's going to look amazing. My actual army is
The army
I
in
mean,
my
you're going to have,
head all have individual names and individual facial hair. The army that's going to the table is going to be painted.
mm, I like you'd mentioned earlier about just faces and hats, and
Yeah,
you know what? I'm wondering, is there a way to maybe do the front rank and then the guys in the back just kind of a bit
that's genius.
blurry?
That's genius. I love it. That
what are
would
you
work.
talking about painting eyes in?
No, no. We're talking about literally the front row's painted and then it's decreasing amount of colour as you go back because
Yeah,
they're in shade.
yeah.
Remember, you go in the line, gentlemen.
But there's two ranks. There's
Two
two.
ranks.
There's
Each
two
race got
ranks.
two ranks.
Unless you're the British. The British are only 2 ranks deep.
Now
And
here's a question, and you've actually admitted to reading part of the rule book, Andrew, which I haven't. I know we're sort of veering off the value and the contents and all the rest of it because we need to finish off with the supplemental boxes. I remember playing with like the back of 6 mil stuff and doing up my Civil War stuff that I had ranks, but I also had columns because when I had to move stuff around, I had to swap them out for columned men. I take it we don't have to do this in this Black Party. We just turn them sideways, pretend they're marching in a straight line.
no. You've got 4 bases to a regiment. I think is what you call them. So you can do your attack column, which is your 2 bases in the front, 2 bases in the back. You've got your line, which is 4 bases wide, and then your column. Your column will be one after the other. But the problem is, at that point, then the frontage really is the same width as it is as your long. So that'll be the strange looking one.
Yeah, because
It'll not.
they'll all be facing that way whilst they're marching
No,
that way.
no. Like they'll be
No,
facing the
no.
right way, but they'll be quite wide,
Right. Oh
and
yeah.
then
Yeah.
so you will really there'll be 8 ranks deep, and then
You
10
don't want to
men
be caught.
across. So
You don't want to be caught in the column.
No.
You really don't.
Nobody wants to be caught in their column.
If you're caught in column, you can say goodbye to that regiment. So you can, not virtually.
Sorry.
right, so there,
That's stressful. I don't know.
I've been looking for I've been looking online to get a feel for the game, and there's been rumblings about different formations not looking right at the sort of frontage they've picked. But I think it'll be great. It'll be,
What game? I mean, have we ever, in all our long, long years, have we ever sat down and played any one game where every aspect of it ticked all the boxes?
no,
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 of course
not
not.
at all.
Of course not.
And I think like
No.
I think we need to hold fast on what we're trying to do here too. Like it's an idea to get a big game going, multiple players. So
Yeah.
we need to get the playability top in our head,
Yeah.
and it does look as if it's going to deliver that. So
Yeah, because that's the thing. Now I think technically we've got probably enough for like 6 players.
I think definitely. Yeah.
Maybe more. No, we don't have any of the fancy limited sort of commanders and that because Warlord didn't send us any. But let's not be ungrateful. We'll just buy some, or 3D print them. But those little expansion boxes, guys. I mean, you've already said, Andy, you sort of thought, well, actually, you know what? If you're just starting off, maybe grab a couple of those to begin with. For the price tag of those being £26 a pop, did you find that what you've got in there? Yes, good value for money, what you expected, better than you expected, worse than you expected?
Well, in my case, I think that for what you're getting in the Highland Brigade box is excellent. The Heavy Brigade, Light Brigade, yes, it's fine. It's all there. There is other ones I do have real doubts about, and one of them is the Napoleonic British and Allied Commanders. You get 5 mounted commanders for £12 in 13.5mm scale. It's a tad steep.
Okay.
The casualty box, 17 figures lying on the ground, £17.
They do seem to be a tool, though. You do seem to be able to mark off casualties with that.
Yes, it's just, to me, it seems a tad, because then you do a combined one. You can get your commanders and you can get your casualty figures. And it's 80 quid.
That's
You know,
all
80
three
pounds.
factors, though.
Yes. It's a lot of casualty markers.
Yeah.
It's a lot of
That would be ideal for us.
That would be
That's one army, but
no, that's
not
the three
place.
factions combined, is it not?
Yep.
It's like, I'll check for you.
Yeah, good,
Yeah,
because you know it's always nice to be critical, accurate. Like, which just reminds
Yes.
me, there's a couple of our boxes I noticed when we were reading them, where it's an advisory that you can repaint them to be a different thing, because there's one of them particularly says about you can paint them up to the Belgians or something else as well. So it's probably
I think
worth
that's for the British ones. Like they can be
all the different allies.
Yeah. And even like was it the KGL, like they can represent all those. So
I can do them actually from my British box.
Yeah, which is a nice touch, but it's a detail that can be overlooked. So
but
what did you find out when you Googled there to check your giving off?
It is all three for £80.
Okay. So divided between 3 people then?
It's 25, 26, £26.60.
Yeah.
Exactly
Personally, I will be
same
buying
price. Yeah.
the wounded dudes and the generals. So,
right. So it's exactly the same price as a regiment box. It's exactly the same price as a regiment box.
Yeah, it's actually cheaper if you buy the full set for everybody.
Yeah.
Throw our money together and we buy it between us.
But that's literally what I'm saying. It's the equivalent. Buy the big set between the 3 players is the same as buying an our regiment box each. So that's not awful. I don't think. Maybe it is, and I'm just naive and blinded by the plastic mountain. Okay, I think we've kind of covered. I mean, just to round it off.
Andy, I was just wanted to throw in there for the singular expansion box. I think that would be your perfect entry into the game for one person. That you could paint one of those boxes up and bring that as your brigade.
Okay.
And that would be enough for one player to knock in with your mates. Like it's a nice little set.
Yeah.
Apart from you can't do it with the Prussians because you need the mix.
There's always something to thwart the cunning plan of saving money. But I suppose then the answer is 2 people buy a British and a French. They have a go. They show their mate it. Their mate goes, yes, okay. Do you want to do Prussians? Yes. Well, you have to spend a wee bit more than us, but go ahead. Now we're all in. And then you're in a position to decide, well, do we want that starter box? Do we want that terrain? Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
The only thing that it's worth mentioning that you don't get in all this is fields and trees and hedges, folks. And you're going to need a lot of them too. To round off then, and this is a little bit unfair because it just dawned on me, you've only seen the pictures. Now, each of you have got a terrain piece in your set. Andrew, you got a windmill?
Yeah.
Have you had a look at it?
No.
No. No.
It's underneath this mound of plastic.
Yeah, somewhere in there, there's a wooden building. The only thing we'll say then about the terrain pieces are they are Sarissa Precision. We haven't built any of them yet. We still have to try and hoodwink somebody into that. Jim Latimer, I'm looking at you. But what I would say, and I can stand over, is we've built and got lots of other Sarissa Precision kits before. and you can't really complain about them. They do exactly what they say on the tin, and they generally make a nice building.
MDF.
On the MDF. Yes, MDF
Yeah.
is going to rock you. So yeah, I think we've got them all. We've got all the landmarky ones because the one in each of our starter sets, and then there's everything else. I think it's 4 other sets. And today you started building the road set as well, Andrew.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us about that
I
experience.
couldn't get the wee stickers to line up with the MDF. Although we think we've got that sus for next time, but I think I had the roads and rivers from before, and to be honest, every single time I look through the scenarios and stuff, the main thing that's popping out is terrain features is roads and rivers, which are covered with those packs. So I think like a green map, those there, and then we're ready to go with whatever we've got painted, and we could trash it out. For a very, very plain battlefield, I think that'll work to begin with.
I think starting off, I mean, we've got all of them, and that was they're iconic for Waterloo.
They're pre-colored, they're painted, or like the stickers are colored. So
I must actually look and see. It'll be interesting to see if the other sets have stickers for. Actually, one moment.
This is where he brings his usual thing and goes, oh, look.
Here's one I built earlier. Well, I've got one of them here, which makes me wonder what I've done with the other ones. Got this one.
Are you thinking that there's maybe stickers on them? And
Well,
that'll all be.
I'm just wondering, could this be a dream come true? Probably not, is it? I can't see them actually sitting down and thinking, hey, let's be really nice and make stickers for all of these kits. Who wants to paint 6? The unmistakable carcinogenic smell of freshly unsealed MDF. So we've got a sheet. And we've got really tiny building.
It'd be interesting to see the space that they take up. Like, I know they're small scale, but
there's cardboard roofs.
Yeah. So they're still quite substantial buildings then.
Oh well, this is like that's everything in that picture.
Yeah.
Like they haven't skimped on it, because I think if they tried to go shy and go, well, it's just representative, like every beard and button counter would have just gone, not good enough.
But on like the size of our tables, like you're not going to be putting all 3 terrain pieces down then.
Not until we do the Battle of Waterloo. No, all of it. No, all of this is just instructions, which obviously I'm going to pay really close attention to, as I always do.
Jim's going to pay really close attention to.
Shh, we haven't convinced him yet. I'm just wondering. Oh, there's the rest of them there. Excuse me while I lean my chest towards the camera. There's another one that's far too far away for me to reach. So we've got the church with its little walls, no graves. I imagine that's going to be cardboard roofs as well.
Mm-hmm.
That's quite big too.
Mm.
Your Prussians, I think, were around this quite a bit too. If I remember the back of the box that I read accurately. I suppose you want me to get the other one, because the other one's the big one, isn't it?
Huge one? What's the big one?
Is huge one the big one?
I do love that's the level of our historical research is just reading the back of the boxes.
Well, I mean, did you not notice that I didn't try to even pronounce the name of any of those? I went, there's the church, and here's the farm.
Yeah,
That's quite nice. I do like that.
yeah.
Yeah, they they seem quite nice. I mean, they range. The building sets I think range from about 20 quid up to about 30-ish, 30 something maybe.
60.
What's the 60
I
one?
believe Hugemont. It's Hugemont.
Huge one 60. Okay,
I think it's 60.
that's that's hefty. I have to say,
I'm
for a
just checking.
building that has a specific use like that, I mean, this is the one thing that where this scale of a game kind of grates on my value for money nerves. Nothing to do with the contents, nothing to do with the price tag, but what else do I do with this? Like you and I have had this conversation before, Andrew, where it's been, we love all our 7TV miniatures because we can use them in every other game we play. But the only thing we're going to be able to do with these guys is what these guys are for at this scale.
Mm.
That
But
irks me a
yeah,
little.
I think you're probably going to hit that at any historical game. Like, we need to keep in our heads what we're getting. This is a big.
Yes.
This is almost like a lifetime project we're trying to crank out.
Well, that's what I said in one of the reviews on the Weegamers Facebook page was, bear in mind that when you buy into doing Napoleonics, you're not just taking up a hobby, it's a lifestyle choice.
Mm. Yeah.
Well, guys, talking about lifestyle choices, we have waxed lyrical for nearly 40 minutes. God help anyone who's going to sit through all of this. We should have probably put a commercial break in the middle of it somewhere. Um, unless anyone has anything salient that they feel they want to add before we move on.
I'm just checking the prices.
Checking the prices. Job's comforter in the middle there. Um, do keep your eyes peeled. We will do more on this. We intend to sort of, and this will be part of our motivation. Part of our motivation in doing this will be sharing with yourselves. And as you can tell from this video, we are not button counters. We are not Napoleonics aficionados or avid historical fanboys. We're just wanting to do something fun. And let's see if we can make Napoleonics fun without having to grow beards. No offense to either of the two of you who already have them.
It would be quite. Yeah, it would be quite funny if this was a video proof of the transformation for us moving into the button counters. Every week we got worse.
Yeah. If in the next video when you were talking about, because the next video is going to be obviously starting to be about painting progress. That's where we'll come together. Now, we will try. Probably only I really have the luxury of being able to set up and record doing any painting. Andy, you might be able to get to do some. Bob, you can barely get your computer to start. So we'll have.
Oh, it's working fine now. It's got sorted.
Oh, good.
I was trying to set it up on the wrong control panel.
Okay. Well, we'll not bore everyone else with that. But what we will all three of us do is we will do photographs and document our progress from undercoated to finished units for each season. Now, we'll not do that for every single regiment. But when we start something new, if we're doing something that's going to be markedly different from the last thing we done, so we'll do an infantry regiment each. We'll do a cavalry regiment each. We'll do a skirmish regiment each. We'll do an artillery regiment each. Then you don't really need to see how we paint each regiment. We'll have, by then you'll have realised what incompetent painters we are. But as Andy or myself or Bob come up with what we think are shortcuts or cheats or just actual painting skill, we'll maybe convey those and go, oh lads, time for another set of photographs in our video. Look, I found out how to do bandoliers really neatly. And then somebody out there on the internet who's been doing it for years go, yeah. And what?
Yeah, no one does it that other way you were doing.
Why the hell were you using matchsticks to begin with? What was the spatula for? But I suppose from our point of view, this isn't for the big hardcore fanboys who know exactly who was in each regiment. This is for wee Billy or wee Susie, who just goes, I fancy a crack at that Napoleonic thing, because I like Parliaments, so I'll probably like Napoleonics. So yeah, we will try and keep everything in that vein of I don't know what I'm doing, so I'm just going to tell you so you can have a go at it too. And watch as the guys at Warlord roll over in their graves. Why are these even people? Can we stop them talking about us because it's hurting my eyes?
Just bring back the prices, by the way, of those pieces.
Yeah, we'd be the first ones to get a
The
cease and desist for being rubbish.
yeah,
Wouldn't be the first one.
the church is £24,
Okay.
and the larger farmhouse is £34.
Okay.
Gougemont is not available at the moment. There's no price for it.
Okay. But you're fairly certain it was like 60 squitters.
I think it was 60.
So these two
I
here.
think it was on the invoice at 60.
So these two here. This farm here.
That farm is 34.
And this church.
Yep. 24.
Is 24. Right.
Yep.
Okay.
So you get the two of them for the price that you want.
Okay.
I could see that being huge. Like that could potentially be like a foot.
That's why they call it Huge Mom. So there you go, folks. Let us know what you think. Are you dabbling in Napoleonics? Have we somehow done something right and made you think maybe I'd like to be involved in this madness as well? Hey, where do I sign up? You can sign up at Warlord Games because they've loads of offers on.
I'd love to help those guys paint their miniatures.
I'd like
excellent news.
Yeah, we might actually get somebody who gets in touch and goes, just send me your miniatures, I'll paint them. Please, for the love of everything holy, don't paint them because you know so little about it that literally they'll rewrite the Napoleonic Wars just because of how bad it is. To heck with it, it's fun. It's supposed to be a laugh and it's supposed to be a bit of fun. Let's have a bit of fun with it. So on that note, we will wrap up. Keep an eye on the Facebook page. We will link up there when we do things. We will probably try once a month. I think once a month's reasonable to do a little video update of where we are with our painting. And if anybody will try, each of us to sort of capture little bits if we can. Here's me having to go at doing these things, and here's me trying out my gel pens, and here's me trying to make washes, and here's me paying a child down the street to paint my soldiers for me.
That's more likely.
That's more likely. So yeah, we'll try and do that. And then what I might do on the terrain front is, it might be nice. Jim Latter might turn around and say no, but what I might do is, well, build them and then I'll paint them. So if that's the case, what I'll do is I'll do a little video of each of the farms, each of the terrain pieces getting built.
Yeah.
Except for Bob's and except for Andrew's, because they have to have some of that experience of building terrain and getting the fingers completely coated in PVA and Gorilla Glue. I think that's fair.
No.
It's totally fair. We'd see Bob next week wearing a fine farmhouse as a hat. Or stuck to the arse of his trousers.
Can I buy a bicorn?
Yes. Amazon has a Ruby's, or whatever you call it, fancy dress costume suitable for each of us. And for next month's video, I expect each of us to be in costume.
That's a tricorn. I want a bicorn. Ah, there's one. It's £28. There's a better one. Oh, it's 35.
Right. Bob's going on a ramble now. It's probably coming close to his medication time. So, as ever, folks, thanks very much for tuning in to Weegamers the Burger Club. It's nice to be back with you. We will have other things in some of our normal fare. We'll try to talk Carl into coming back on screen and stuff like that too. And until the next epic video, see what I did there, next month, stay tuned for more excitement. Leave us a comment. Don't worry, Facebook or YouTube deletes the nasty ones automatically. But do hit subscribe, do hit follow, do hit like, share it to your friends. And yeah, we're back, guys. It's like Ghostbusters 2, but without the cool backpacks. Thanks for watching, and it's bye-bye from me, and it's bye-bye from them.
Goodbye.
Bye, folks.